Hey house guests, welcome to today's Big Brother 17 updates and spoilers. Our house guest of the day is fan number 1, aka David. So David is going on a nice little vacation to the Cliffs of Moher in County Clare. And David, if you see Cupcake from The Bachelorette, please bring him a tissue. But seriously, does anyone watch Bachelorette? So sad. But anyway, I felt bad for Cupcake. David wants to know, if I was on this season and I could evict someone on night 1, who would it be and why? There's so many choices. I definitely agree with them for getting rid of Jace this week, so I think Jace would definitely be high up on my list to get rid of. Why? Because he's annoying and he's a big physical threat. Austin, I would be worried about him. He's a big dude. He seems to have a brain, so I'd be worried about him. I think those would be my 2 main targets. But let me know who you guys would get rid of in the comments. Alright, we have so much going on. I don't even have time for a but first. So, Jeff and Austin were up in the HOH room chatting, and they were like, man, we gotta start over. Like, Audrey pit us against each other, but we could be really good together. So, they were saying how they're not gonna put each other up if they win HOH next week. They're both targeting Audrey because she's spreading all these lies. Are these two gonna become best friends and do karate in the garage now? I don't know. I think Austin is looking for somebody because Jace is probably leaving this week, but I don't know how long this Jeff-Austin alliance is going to last. I mean, say they do get rid of Audrey next week, are they really going to work together after that, or is it going to be same old, same old? I don't know. But Jeff, James, and Meg were up in the HOH room, and there was more talk about how Clay is passing all of their information to Audrey. Now, I was thinking about this. And, like, aren't they all in an alliance together? So, like, shouldn't Clay be passing a lot of information to Audrey? I don't know. I mean, I get that they don't want him to tell her everything, but, like, that's what happens when you make a half-house alliance. You're gonna have people telling everything to everyone, because you're all aligned. But anyway, they're like, yeah, we need to be careful with what we say to Clay, Shelly, and Audrey. Those 3 are kind of on the outs now with the big group. So, this is kind of a side note. Jeff and James make a lot of inappropriate, disgusting comments, like, about women, and it's, like, really bumming me out. So, it'd be cool if they stopped. But anyway, I just had to get that off my chest, because it's like, really, guys? Are you, like, 12 years old? So, no offense to any 12-year-olds. Day, Jason, and Audrey were all chatting in the backyard, and Jason brought up something that happened in the bathroom. He was in there taking a shower, a bunch of people were in the bathroom, all having a good time, just chatting it up, telling stories. But then whenever he would say something, Vanessa just had this look on her face. She was so disgusted. He was like, it looked like she thought I was the trashiest person in the world. And I felt so bad for Jason. Like, what did he do to deserve that? But he was saying how she's not very good at hiding how she feels on her face, which is ironic considering she's a poker player. And not only that, she's a successful, very successful poker player. But she just can't do it. So I thought that was interesting. So then Jeff, Liz, and Austin were talking more about their favorite topic, Audrey. So Austin was like, there's an underground movement forming to take her out. It's a revolution. So then they were talking about who they could pull in. So Jeff was like, well, I have Meg and Jackie. And then they were like, let's work on Johnny, Mac, and Becky. Let's get them in with this crew. P.S. Don't tell Clay about any of this. I think they said it multiple times, like, we can't tell Clay about this because it's gonna mean trouble. So, Jeff starts out right. He starts by bringing John and Becky into the movement a little bit. He's telling them, Audrey's effing crazy. She's causing all this drama. We need to get rid of her. So then he starts getting a little bolder. He starts talking about Audrey with Clay. So he's like, I don't know, man. Audrey's being really weird towards me. I feel like she started this rumor that I'm in a showmance with Meg and we're, like, going after people in our own alliance. So Clay is just like, Audrey's been sleeping all day. So he's like, there's no weirdness. Like, I'll let you know if I see anything, but I don't think Audrey's being weird. So we'll come back to that. It doesn't take long for Clay to tell Audrey and Shelly about this conversation that he had with Jeff, and Audrey's just like, well, I was asleep all day, so it wasn't me. So then she's talking about the rumor with Meg, and Audrey tries to pin it on Day. She's like, I think Day started that rumor. So then she's like, we can't trust her. I'm gonna backdoor Day if I win HOH. And Meg is kind of like, what? Why? That's weird. And Audrey's like, hey, Jason and Day are a really strong pair, and they need to be split up, so I'm gonna take out Day. Alright, then it turns into, Jeff, what are you doing? He was being bold before, I'll call it, by talking about Audrey with Clay. Now he's being kind of like dumb. So he tells Clay, Audrey is playing everyone. And then it gets worse because Jeff is just like, everyone in the alliance except for you and Shelly knows that we're going after her. No one had the guts to tell you. I'm telling you right now. So Clay is just like, what? He was very surprised. He was just like, wait, everyone's going after Audrey? What's going on here? So then he's like, Jeff, like, you need to tell the rest of the group that I'm down with this. Like, I don't want to be on the outsides of this. Is he actually down with it? I don't know. So then, after this conversation's over, Shelly and Audrey are talking to Clay, and they're just like, well, what were you talking about with Jeff? Like, you were with Jeff for a while. What's going on there? So Clay is like really defensive. He doesn't want to tell them what he was talking about. He's like, don't you guys trust me? Like, why do you have to ask me every time what I was talking about with people? So that just like screams guilty. When you're giving all of this information to people all the time and then all of a sudden you stop, it's pretty obvious that you were talking about them. So then Jeff and Clay pull Shelly aside and they're just like, Shelly, Audrey's the next target. And she's just like, what? So it's another situation mismanaged by Jeff, because then he's like, yep, the whole alliance met without you two. We all decided this together. Without you, without you, without you. So I don't know how you can make it any worse. Why are you gonna tell people that their whole alliance met without them? You're just asking for trouble. So Shelly is putting things together and she's just like, well, that means like once Audrey's gone, are Clay and I next? Because you guys are like making all these decisions without us. That's kind of shady. And Jeff is like, what? No, what? Oh, we're getting out Audrey. Yeah, I think he blew it right there. That's gonna tear the alliance apart. So tension really boiled over last night. Audrey and Jace had a little argument in the backyard. Audrey walks out there and she's like, Jace, I just want you to know that everyone was aware of the backdoor plan. It wasn't a last minute thing. We were all in on it. And he's just like, I don't believe you. I don't believe it. No. And then he's like, Audrey, I think you were behind the whole thing. So things get really heated. Jace is telling Audrey that everyone's against her, which is like kind of true at this point, but she's just like, no, that's bull. So Audrey's like, no one's buying what you're selling. I feel bad for you because you're so clueless and you're going home this week. So it got pretty nasty. Then people were just like, I'm going to bed. Like, Jason and Day were just like, I'm out of here. Bye. So Jace is trying to use this opportunity to get some votes. It's not really working though. He's not on the block against Audrey, and it's not one of those situations where someone's like, keep me and I'll take this person out. Like, he's trying to play that angle, but it's so early in the game that like they don't need his number, and everyone is already going after Audrey next week anyway, so it really doesn't benefit them to keep a threat like Jace in the house. So he's gone. He's gone. Unless something wild happens, he's gone. But the next morning, this morning, they were up so late. Oh my god, they were up until like 6 or 7 in the morning. So this morning, Jeff was practically giddy about last night's events. He's running around to everyone just like, yeah, and I told Clay and Shelly, and they're in the mix now, and then there was the fight, and Audrey she's ruining everything, and blah, blah, blah. Keep your mouth shut, Jeff. Stop running your mouth. You're gonna ruin it. So, seriously, he was like playing really good for a few minutes, and then he went overboard a little bit. But James got the HOH camera today. He wrote his blog. They were all taking pictures. They had to pretend they love each other for a few minutes. And And then stuff started to get crazy again. Audrey was a little bit upset because no one jumped into that argument with Jace last night to defend her. There were a couple people sitting out in the backyard with them. So Jason was like, well, I felt intimidated and I was like weirded out and I didn't want to jump into that. I'm sorry. So then things got really crazy when Audrey brought up the same thing today. She's like, I was offended that you didn't stick up for me. I've never said anything negative about you. So Day was just like, well, I wasn't getting involved in that. I heard my name come up a couple times, and I was just going to sit back and observe because I don't want my name being dragged through the mud. So then they're going back and forth a little bit. She's like, are you sure you've never said anything bad about me to anyone? So, like, right on cue, Vanessa walks into the have-not room. It's, like, really awkward. So then Vanessa's like, well, I have both of you here right now. I want to ask you something. So she's asking them about this rumor that was going around that Vanessa was like the mastermind of this all-girls alliance. So she's like, Audrey, you told me that Day was the one that started this rumor. So Day is just like, whoa, what? No, she is pissed. So then she gets other people to come in. The have-not room starts filling up. You got the 3 that were already in there. You got Shelly, James, Jeff, Meg, Jason, and Clay. So you have like half the house in this freaking dentist's office. This is like the worst dentist appointment ever. So everyone is saying, they're backing up Day. They're just like, Audrey, you are the one that was calling Vanessa a mastermind. You were talking about the all-girls alliance. You were talking about how they were all wearing black shirts and like they were all together. So Vanessa starts crying. She's just like, I can't believe you were saying that about me. Like, I'm so hurt. I'm so hurt. Does anyone else feel like Vanessa's kind of like whiny and stuff? I don't know. She's just like a little bit disappointing. But anyway, Jason starts yelling. Day is yelling. Audrey is just like, this is all bullshit. She's still trying to pin this on Day. It's not working. Everyone in the room is against her. They're just like, Audrey, come on. Come on now. So then Day is just like, your shit has hit the fan, point blank and period. She walks out of there like a boss. So then everyone leaves the room except for Audrey, Shelly, and Vanessa. Audrey starts crying. I think that was kind of planned because you know that Shelly is very easy to cry. I don't know. Because remember when she was talking to Jason, she was just like, I want you to leave. So Audrey's crying to her and she's like, everyone is believing a liar. This is so messed up. And they're trying to be like, yeah, but, you did lie, so, yeah. So we'll catch up on that fallout tomorrow. I'm sure the rest of today was very interesting. Like, this evening is going to be interesting. I want to know what you guys think. Is there any way, besides winning HOH, that Audrey can save herself next week? What do you think? Let me know. And until tomorrow, much love.
Edit.